In my projects, I use many different types of media technologies in the research and the construction, planning and evaluation stages. The first part in my research, I mainly use Google, and for this, I mainly used it because it gave me a lot of resources I could access. Examples such as the Postal 13th and Blackfish, so I could analyse them and find conventions. I also used it to find examples for my double page spread as well, and my documentary, so I could read the double page spread and watch documentaries and find things that I'd use a lot to make my double page spread and documentary more realistic. For my planning, I just really used Word, which is where I created my storyboard and my shot list. I used it for planning because I could create tables quite easily and lay out my documentary. I used Word as I have past use of it, so it would be more familiar to me, so I could use it more efficiently. And I also use Word because it's easy to use and very nicely set out, so I could not have too complicated to display, unlike later on using DaVinci Resolve. So that'd be the next point, would be the actual construction. And in that, I mainly used DaVinci Resolve, and I also used a free online recording for any other software, using such as like YouTube, where I could pull SoundCloud stuff and also other tracks, so I could fit it to my theme, which is where the first part of the documentary is made out of. The theme from Dark Knight and clips which I brought from YouTube, so it could fit my film theme. Also, the next part, which I'd use sound, was in my introduction part, where I'm speaking again. And in that part, I'm using the soundtrack from Interstellar to again fit my film theme. For the others, where I was making such a poster, a power, and a double spread, I used Photoshop as it's quick, but it also let me work with resources, and as again, such as Word, I have past experience with it, so it means that it was quite easy to do what I wanted to do instead of trying to learn a new software, which I had to do for the DaVinci Resolve, which brings us to my next point, which is the construction of the actual documentary itself. And on that I used DaVinci Resolve to bring in the different parts I brought from the YouTube and bring it all together, and also the interviews. I used DaVinci Resolve as it's more complicated than other software, but gave me a lot of tools I could use and more options instead of using something more simpler, but would have made it difficult to do something that I might not have been able to do if I wasn't using DaVinci Resolve. So that's why I used that. For the evaluation, I use a range of different media technologies, from using DaVinci Resolve to create the interview and also the podcast which I'm recording now and you're speaking and hearing me on, and I also used it to create a director's cut so I can analyse the different clips. Again, I use DaVinci Resolve as I've gained this experience with it, so I'm knowing nuances of it and became more confident in it. Another part I used, which was to create a sort of mind map, was using something I found free, which is Amaze. It means that I could create like a free version of the Prezi, and instead of having to pay for it, I used this. I also used it because it looked more professional than other software I found, which either looked very cartoony or didn't look very good overall.